sometimes in this suffering and hopeless despair, my heart cries for shelter to know someone's there. But a voice rises in me saying, hold on, my child, I'll give you strength, I'll give you hope, just stay a little while. May there someday be sunshine, may there someday be happiness, may there someday be love, may there someday be peace, may there someday be sunshine.
We are going to begin. Well, first, Shabbat Shalom. We are going to begin on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Moachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Barakuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu.
We turn back in our Sidurim to pages 2 and 3. Invite everybody who can comfortably do so to please rise. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. We join in blessing our Shabbat lights, page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kireshanu ומצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat.
You may be seated. We turn to pages 20 and 21, and as is our custom, we take a few moments to reflect on the week that has passed, to go back to last Shabbat, to pause a moment on each day, its challenges and its blessings. Hazarat HaShavua, review of the week. Take a deep breath. Shabbat renews the soul. We'll sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, I'll invite everybody who can comfortably do so to rise and face the doors from which we entered to welcome the Shabbat presence and the Nishama Yetera, the extra soulfulness that travels with us during Shabbat into the congregation and into our hearts. And for those of you who are joining us online, you can turn towards the doorways of your home to bring Shabbat into your home. Create a holy space. Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Shabbat, Lekapela, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 Shabbat, Lekapela, Shamor v'zachor, Tebibur echam, Ishtriyanu, El HaMiyuchan, Adonai Echad, Ushmo Echad, L'Shem u'L'Tiferet, Ve'L'Tchila, Le'Gadoti Likrat Kalai, Yalalai, 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 Shabbat, Lekapela, Lekadoti likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 Shabbat, Lekapela, likrat Shabbat, lechuven elcha, ki mekor habracha. Merosh Mikedem Nesucha Sof Ma'aseh B'machshava Tchila Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 Shabbat Lekapela Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 Shabbat Kapela, Kitorevri, Kiva Ove, Uri, Shidameri, Kevod Adonai, Alai, Bigla, Lechadoti likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 Shabbat, Lekapela, Lehadoti likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 Shabbat, Lekapela. Please rise if you can comfortably do so and face the doors. Oiv בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובסולה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה יללה יללה, בשבת אקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה יללה יללה, בשבת אקבלה. I'm going to invite Leaf to join us up here. We're going to continue on page 26 with Chatzi Kaddish. Just come around here. I'll give you a... Go on.
Yitkadav Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah
Amen.
Ba'alma Divrach Hirutei Ve'amlich Mochutei B'chayecho V'yom Echad Uv'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael Bagala Bagala Uvizman Kariv Ve'meru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Ulamei Almaya Yitbarach Yisharach V'yitbach V'yitpa'ar V'yitroman V'yitnasei V'yithadar V'yitalei V'yithalal Shemei Dekudasha Berihu Le'ele Kol V'shata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Da'amira Ma'ama V'meru Amen.
We're going to continue with Baruch Hu on page 29. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever.
Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Last three lines in the Hebrew, page 30, El Chai V'Kayam.
El Chai V'Kayam, Tamini L'Chaleinu L'Olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Hamarim, Aravim.
Amen. Page 32. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Atasin mimenu leolamim. Baruch ata Adonai.
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
Oimamu Israel.
Amen. Page 34 and 35.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. Continue Ve'ahavta, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Emet. Page 39. Please join in the indented text. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 40.
Kamocha, Baelim Adonai, mi kamocha, Nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilo, Osei feleh. Mi kamocha, Baelim Adonai, mi kamocha, Nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilo, Osei feleh. Malchutcha ra'u banecha, Okei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze Eli, anu. Ve'amru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Mi chamocha, Baelim Adonai, mi kamocha, Nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, Osei feleh. Nora tehilot, Osei feleh. Nora tehilot, Osei feleh. Ki v'Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Yal Yisrael.
Amen. Turn to page 42. So we ask the Holy One to shelter us under a sukkah, a tabernacle of peace, to let us lie down with a sense of peace, to let us rise up with a sense of purpose. Hashkivenu, page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Avidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Avidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ufroz aleinu sukan shlomecha, ushmor tzedkenu uvoenu. Ufroz aleinu sukan shlomecha, ushmor tzedkenu uvoenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amidenu shomreinu lechayim. Baruch atah Adonai, Haborei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim
Give thanks for Shabbat, for the opportunity it gives us to breathe, to pause, to reflect, to connect. After a busy week, just to have a little bit of space. We give thanks for that gift. Join in singing Vishamru, page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Maso et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Maso et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, maso et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki shesh yamim Asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, maso et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. U'v'yom ha'shvi Shabbat v'nafash, Shabbat v'nafash, Shabbat v'nafash. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, maso et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam.
Page 46, as we begin our Amidah, I ask everybody who can comfortably do so to please rise.
Adonai, Sefatai Tivta, Ufi Ahi, Tehilatecha, Adonai, Sefat out my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VaHanorah, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Page 50.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל.
Page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently with the text of our own heart or the words of the prayer book through page 62-63. When you're through, you may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody out there, to everybody present and watching on the live stream. With the upcoming holiday of Thanksgiving, just next week, I was searching for something that would be apropos for the holiday, and it's very rare that I play a Christian hymn for Shabbat services, but tonight I'm going to do that just because it's a cool jazz arrangement, and also it's certainly in keeping with the Thanksgiving of being together. So if you haven't already deciphered what it is, it's we gather together. Maybe with a Jewish twist, we could call it we daven together. Rabbi, I don't know. Is there a Hebrew equivalent for we gather together that we could make it a little more, Hamish or something? What does that mean?
How good it is
How
to
good?
be together.
Okay, yeah. Hine mato. So, yeah. So this is we gather together. It's a Dutch folk song hymn / hymn.
Shabbat Shalom. So this week's parsha is called Chaye Sarah, which means the life of Sarah. But it actually begins with her death. It says the life of Sarah was, puts out the number of years, and then it begins really with her death. And anyone who has suffered the loss of a loved one knows there are ritualized phases to Jewish mourning. First, between death and burial, a stage called aninut, when pain is acute. Sometimes words fail us. We're not required to say Kaddish before burial, nor do we formally receive visitors. One does very little other than absorb the blow and make preparations for the burial of a loved one. Shiva counts the 7 days of mourning, beginning with the burial. Here one accepts condolence visits and words of consolation and begins to share memories. We come together for minyan, and community members offer comfort by saying words of empathy or delivering sweets or other food. And only on the 7th day do we get up from Shiva and begin to resume daily life. The next phase is Shloshim, 30 days. We are still mournful. We go to work, but we don't attend non-essential social events. It's still too early for discretionary entertainment. And then the year of Avelut, of mourning. And then come the Yortzeit remembrances, every subsequent year. And while I readily admit that there are all sorts of things in Jewish tradition that don't immediately make sense, in the case of mourning, the rabbis got it right. Our mourning rituals provide mourners with tools to journey through the emotional phases of loss, from shock to anger to grief, and eventually to acceptance and a return to life. The rituals do not take a person's pain away. In all my years as a rabbi, not one person has ever shared that they have gotten over a loss. People just figure out, by moving through the stages of mourning, how to put one foot in front of the other. We remember, but we step forward. The ache remains, but nevertheless, we plan for the future. For a model, we need to look no further than Abraham in today's Torah reading. After his life partner Sarah dies, he purchases a burial plot and he mourns. And then he sets a plan in motion to find a wife for his son Isaac. Loss and life, coping and hope, turning to the generations to come, even as he mourns. The example of Abraham's mourning becomes the model for all Jewish mourning to this day. The story of our first family begins simply enough. Abraham and Sarah are plucked from obscurity by God, commanded to give life to a people, to be a blessing to all humanity, and to settle a land that we call Israel. They didn't call it that yet, but we'll get it for another time. But like the Garden of Eden, like so many biblical stories, the plan that appears simple turns out to be anything but. Sarah is barren. She can't bear children. Who will receive the blessing? Who will inherit the land? The promise must be fulfilled. So Sarah finds a concubine for Abraham, Hagar, a woman whose name literally means the stranger. It will be by means of Hagar's womb that the pedigree of the first family will be preserved. Sure enough, Hagar gives birth to a son, Ishmael. And although everyone entered into the arrangement with the best of intentions, the sting, for reasons all too human, is too much for Sarah to bear. Even when Sarah is eventually blessed with her own son, Yitzchak, Isaac, the tensions mount. In Ishmael, Sarah sees a threat to her son, physically, and also that Ishmael's continued existence presents a challenge to Isaac's claim to the land and to the blessing. As for Hagar, she sees in Isaac the promise once destined for her son Ishmael slipping away. Things come to a head, and at Sarah's behest, Hagar and Ishmael are banished from Abraham's home, their lives saved by the intercession of a well-timed angel and the appearance of a life-giving well, in Hebrew, Be'er. There is no record of Abraham and Ishmael ever speaking again. Their relationship, understandably, would never be the same. For the remaining members of our family, Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac, even with Hagar and Ishmael no longer in the picture, things seem to go from bad to worse. The same Abraham who last week pleaded on behalf of Sodom and Gomorrah, who 2 weeks ago put himself on the line to save his nephew Lot, somehow sees fit to heed God's command to set Isaac on the altar, a near-death experience again averted only by the intercession of a well-timed angel. Sarah was so horrified, the rabbis explain, at her husband's willingness to sacrifice their only son, that she herself dies of heartache. So traumatized was Isaac by the whole experience that he never again spoke to his father. That angel may have saved Isaac's life, but the relationship between father and son was sacrificed on the top of the mountain. Of course, this is not the only way to tell the story of our people's first family. But given that Isaac and Ishmael went on to give life to 2 nations, the Jewish one and the Arab one. It is a telling that cuts close to home. Two brothers of shared lineage and shared claim to a land. Two brothers estranged from one another, estranged from their parents and estranged from God's promise. A tragedy of generations filled with distrust and violence and heartache and the hardening of hatreds. A tragedy whose ripple effects play out to this very day. Bleak as the story is, our Torah reading also offers a sliver of redemption, a hint of possibility, a little bit of hope in an otherwise dark tale. As noted following the trauma on Mount Moriah, Abraham and Isaac never speak again, at least not that we know of. The father and son who went up the mountain together came down separately. Abraham, the text states, returns to Beersheba. But where did Isaac go? The answer comes in the scene where Isaac meets his bride, Rebekah. And Isaac returned from Be'er Lahai Roi, for he settled in the region of the Negev. Where is Be'er Lahai Roi, the rabbis ask? And what was Isaac doing there? It was, according to the Midrash, the home of Hagar. That same well, that Be'er that saved Hagar when she almost perished. Why would Isaac, who no doubt suffered lots of PTSD from nearly being killed by his father, who was still mourning the death of his mother Sarah, go see Hagar, the woman who by a certain telling he had every right to resent? Because, the rabbis teach, Isaac wanted to reunite his stepmother Hagar with his father Abraham. In an astonishing turn of events, the very thought that Isaac's first act of personal agency in the wake of his own trauma was to reunite his father and Hagar. What a courage that must have been for Isaac to approach Hagar, and even more for Hagar to consider how brave must it have been for her to receive Isaac and to follow him back. The hatred she had to have wrestled, considering that from her perspective it was Isaac's birth that prompted her exile. But according to the rabbis in the Midrash, that's exactly what happened. After all those years, Hagar returns and marries Abraham, although the Midrash says she changes her name to Keturah, the name given to Abraham's second wife in Torah. Our broken first family becomes a little less broken. Despite all the trauma and the bitterness and the pain, these people somehow bring it together and find some hope in the darkness. Our Torah reading begins with mourning, as noted. Abraham caring for Sarah by purchasing a burial plot known as the Cave of Machpelah. Less well known is how our Torah reading ends, a final touching scene, the death of Abraham himself. The text is terse. There is no dialogue. The text only notes Abraham's ripe old age, 175, and that his two sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him together at the Cave of Machpelah. I think of these two brothers, Isaac and Ishmael, standing over their father's grave, standing on that plot of land that he purchased, reflecting on the hurts inflicted on them and the hurts that they inflicted upon each other, the hatreds they had to suppress, the bitter pills they had to swallow, the things they knew they would have to let go. And yet somehow they were able to work it out, or at least work it out enough that they could civilly bury their father and acknowledge themselves as brothers, each deserving of blessing, each a claimant to the same land. On a certain level, that's a piece of what it means to mourn, to remember the hurt, to hold the pain, to know that try as you may, you will never transcend loss, but you must nevertheless find a way to put one foot in front of the other, to find a path forward. It's not everything. It might not even be much, but it is a place to start. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn now to page 253. We will find in the middle of the page text for our Misha Berach, for our healing prayer. For those of you in the congregation, you'll have a chance to share names of people who you're thinking of in need of healing of body, of mind, of spirit. For those of you at home, feel free during this prayer, if you're on a platform that supports chatting, to share names of people that you're thinking of.
Beirach Avoteinu Mekor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We ask for blessings on Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Tobak, Rosin Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Brad Holland, Serena Postal, Robert Strober, Lori Snyder, Cherry DeRazadeh, Gloria Foster, Robert Gerard, Adele Harris, Brenda Found Gerard, Jan Marcus, Al Shapiro, Robert Waldman, Judith Gratz DeLange, Deborah DeLange, James Stead, Stephen Gilbert, Bill Hughes, Ed Means, Stan Stein, Virginia Guzman, Suzette Guzman, Marilyn Rudin, Sandy Gunn, Faye Bernstein, Sandra Dizengoff, Sherry Mosley, Jeff Blackie, Mike Friel, John Ramirez, John Foster, Ron Sokloff, Larry Muir, Susan Goldstein, Karen Nelson, Mickey Pollock, Larry Gassner, Marcia Lloyd, Terry Lloyd, Fred Rosenblum, Sharon Everett, Mark Kramer, Stacy Martin, Anthony Juarez, and
Bush, Mary Ellen DeMarco, Margie Waldbillig, and enter Jonathan Grant. Mishabeirach Imotenu Nekor Habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
I'd like to invite Stuart Mann back up to share a few greetings and announcements on behalf of our Board of Trustees.
On behalf of the board, I want to thank you all for being here and in the sanctuary and online. Toda Rabah to Rabbi Kupitz for leading our services, and for Cantor Bush for all the things that Cantor Bush does. And I can sing just a little bit better on key when he's singing. And to Randy Polavoy, thank you so much for your playing. And interesting, I'm surprised how many people know the words to what he played today. You know, it's amazing how many of us know those words. Okay, are we having an Oneg tonight? Yeah. The Oneg hosts, Oneg in the other room. And I want to thank the greeters for tonight, Sharon Regal. I'm going to pronounce her last name, Sharon, so Regalado. Judy Rose, Kylie Skikes, Vicki Hollander, and Phyllis Blakely. And I thank our security guards for being here. I always like to say thank you when they are here, and I always feel safer when they're here, especially times like this. I have no... You'll fill it in? Okay. So I don't have anything on my schedule here of the events happening, but I know there's several events on like December 3rd. Do you want to talk about that? We'll talk about those. Okay. So thank you very much.
Sure. Stuart wasn't assigned, by the way, tonight. We just assigned him, so he was got
the generic version.
So, but there are a couple of things coming up. First, let's talk about this coming Wednesday night.
So we are joining together with congregations from the Claremont area in the 33rd Annual Interfaith Thanksgiving service. This year will be at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints up on Baseline. First time that that church is hosted. I think first time many of us will have an opportunity to join together in community at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints institution. So I encourage all of us to come, not only to gather together, but to show them of what they have continually showed us as a kinship with our tradition and a support of our causes and our religious expression. Other than that, I'll let Rabbi fill in, and then I have a couple of things for December.
So many of you received something from the Federation about an Israel Town Hall, which will be on December 3rd. If you are a member of TBI, you also received another communication directly from me. It'll be in our area here, and because of security issues, there's not, all the details aren't being given out currently, but will be sent to you if you register. You must register by Tuesday, that's November 26th, through the Jewish Federation website, jewishsgpv.org, San Gabriel, Pomona Valley.org. And if you're registered, then you'll get all the information that you need for the event. So that's happening on December 3rd. So on the other side, one on one side of Thanksgiving and one on the other side of Thanksgiving. Any other upcoming things?
A few things on the weekend of December 15th, I believe, Sunday, December 15th, we have two events here. We have an event welcoming a representative from the Jewish community of Poland that Jerry Fenning has arranged, and then also there's a Women of TBI event, kind of a When Holidays Collide, a cooking mashup program. That's on the 15th. The following Sunday afternoon, the 22nd, we have our annual Festival of Jewish Music here, sponsored by the Jewish Federation. It's at 3 p.m. Here at TBI on the 22nd. And there's all sorts of other things going on. January I won't go into, but please check your Tekiah for all of the details.
And last note is that because the first night of Hanukkah this year is December 25th, our Hanukkah service here and our Latke dinner here this year will be December 27th, which is that Friday night. That'll be our Christmaka celebration, I guess. I don't know. Christmasica. All right. But we will have our latke dinner, bring everything else that you want, and our Hanukkah service. Our service that night will be at 7 p.m., just a little bit earlier. We'll do our latke dinner at 6. Makes it a little more family-friendly for some of our younger families who also want to come and join us for Hanukkah. So, and all of those things are in your Kehila, which is mailed monthly to members, and in your Tekiah, your weekly news email. And for any of you who don't get the Tekiah, whether you're a member of TBI or not, if you'd like to get the Tekiah on a weekly basis, just let us know your email address. We'll add you to it, and you can get it and know what's going on around the synagogue. All right, we're going to turn now to page 282, in the middle of the page. I'll ask everybody who's comfortably able to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Page 294. We take a moment to remember those who have been important in our lives and have left this earth. And we hold them in our hearts and in our minds. And many of you got again, those of you who are members of TBI got an email today that gave information for Joel Beasley's funeral, which will be on Monday at noon. And so we stand with you and support Janet and in community. And we remember the recent deaths of Kenneth Bailey, cousin of Adele Harris, of Stephen Blatt, husband of Carol and father of Jessica, who's here with us, and Edward DeSatnik, father of Brian DeSatnik, Ted Toback, father of Scott. Scott, we hold you and your family in our hearts. Ivan Flores, friend of Jody Koyman. We remember the anniversaries of the deaths, the yortzites of Carol Ann Abrams, Rose Avnet, Ruth Bornstein, Mary Bauer, Harriet Dunn, Charles Fitzgerald, Faye Freeberg, Rose Freeman, Benjamin Greenberg, Norman Emerson, Jack Kaplan, Martin Levitt, Isabel Lewis, Charlotte Guthman Offerman, Rabbi Stanley Rosenbaum, Patty Aaron Ross, Gerald Salin, Benjamin Schneider, David Silver, Louis Smokey Smolin, Gertrude Teppich-Hertz, Lori Tippett, Sandra Wager, Nettie Wasserman, and Beverly Zaki. you're remembering somebody on the Shabbat, would like to restate a name that I've mentioned or add a name to our list, please feel free to do so as I come by your row. If you're in a time of mourning or observing a yard site on this Shabbat, I invite you to rise. And I invite the rest of the congregation, if it's your custom, to rise and embrace in support of those who mourn. Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah. V'alma divrach hirutei v'imlich malchutei. V'chayachon v'yomachon. Uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach leolam olomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei dukudasha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We'll conclude with Biyado, which you'll find on the last stanza on page 321.
Be'ado av kidduchi, ein ishan ve'a'iran,
Ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira. Ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li velo. My soul I give to you.
my soul I give to you,
My spirit in your care.
my spirit and your care.
Draw me near, I shall not fear.
Draw me near, I shall not
Hold
fear.
me in your hand.
Hold me in your hand.
Draw me near, I shall not fear.
Draw me near, I shall not
Safely in your hand.
safely in your
My soul I give to you. My soul I give to you. My spirit in your care. My spirit in your care. Draw me near. Draw me near. I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. Beyado afkid ruchi. Beyado afkid ruchi. Ve'etishan ve'aira. Ve'etishan ve'aira. Ve'im ruchi geviati. Ve'im ruchi geviati. Adonai li velo ira, ve'im ruchi geviati. Adonai li velo ira. For those who joined us online, thank you so much for being with us. For all of you in the sanctuary, please join us in the social hall for Kiddush, Motzi, and refreshments. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Leif Olson. Shabbat Shalom.